Together, let's embark on a scientific exploration of yoga, where you are the scientist, your heart is the laboratory, and you are the outcome. Namaste. Welcome to Meditate with Daaji. We hope you have been enjoying this series. Today we will watch a video in which Daaji shares his thoughts on building a better future. After which, as always, we will meditate with Daaji.
Today, I am asked to share my ideas on building a better future. We are struggling with all kinds of pollutions at present, impacted by so many pasts, collective past that has created this collective pollution. When we think of industrial pollution, spoiling water, spoiling air, spoiling so many other things, spoiling also moral values, what is the root cause behind it? Mainly it is greed. Building a better future calls for having the right intentions in a very consistent way. It's not enough that I have right intentions for today and I can change my mind and enjoy the false freedom that one gets out of it. So one must regulate the intentions, and intentions are regulated with focused mind. For that, one has to make a right choice and use the will continuously and consciously to implement those choices. To make a will to implement those choices is not a yogic process. It's a simple process. When you ask your child, make a will to have an ice cream, why would the child make a will to have an ice cream? It's not needed. What is needed is interest. When you have the interest, will come automatically, and such a will, no one can shake it. Even parents will go crazy or can go crazy. And to make the right decisions, we must be above petty desires, petty egoistic attitudes, and above all, rise above this prejudice. With many more options today than in the past, are we really independent, impartial, and objective to make right choices? Decision making means knowing what is right, what is wrong, what is beneficial, what is loss giver, what is a cause, and what is the effect. What we are undergoing today, am I creating the future or am I going through the consequences of the past? Our destiny and our future depend upon today's decisions and actions we take. Of course, our genetics cannot be changed. In genetic medicine, they say that the genetics cannot be changed, but epigenome can be changed. Epigenome has something to do with what environmental can do, what an effective parenthood can do, what an effective community can do, what a university can do for students. The biological influence within this cellular structure is largely dependent upon this environment, outer as well as internal. Influences of the friends, for example. It can change the very fundamental DNA structure of a very moralistic boy or a girl. Well, anyway, that is the biological field. In the spiritual field too, our past karmas cannot be changed. But we have the freedom of choice in the present to decide for the future. For that, we have to rise above desires and arrogance and analyze the choices that we made in the past. Whenever we followed the heart in the past, did I go wrong? When I did not hear my heart, see the condition at that moment. How many people were affected because my heart said no, and yet I put a stone over my heart and went ahead with it? You're all smart guys, you can recall all those things. But how do you always feel the heart's signals? How do we still quieten the mind and its ripples? And how to clear the heart to see the actual reality at the deepest core of the heart? Through wise decisions, perhaps, and decision making regarding marriage, for example, or job selection, or starting a new business, or how to influence any part of our future. The decisions made by leaders of a nation and people like you affect the collective future. Building a better future is highly dependent on good decision making skills based on moral and ethical foundation. In 1983, Bristol Myers Squibb Company, it's an American multinational pharmaceutical company, advertised their stress tablets. Brand name was Taste Tablets. And each time they advertised, they had this candle on the box burning on both the sides. So, how do we invite such a biotin like thing in lowering anxiety? Biotin, by the way, was one of the ingredients in those in that Squibb's company's product stress tablets. Biotin actually lowered anxiety, depression, and certain mental disorders. These stress tablets were also touted as official stress formula, vitamin for Winter Olympics in 1984. But today, we do not have two ends to candle. The candle is burning throughout from all sides. How? There are too many apps, for example, on the phones and also in our lives that drain our batteries pretty quickly. How does the phone also drain? If you have multiple apps open all the time, battery will discharge faster. Our apps, our attentions, even though we may not be wanting it. Oh, my family member is this way, my son is this way, my daughter is this way, my colleague is this way, my partner is this way. And in all direction, your attention is asked for. Is there anything wrong with that? Not at all. When my daughter is shining with glorious gold standard achievements, I'll be very proud. It's a positive attention. But when the same girl starts flirting with some unwanted person or develops certain habits, then there is nothing more miserable than that in a parent's life. My spiritual teacher once explained to me, I was just sitting quietly and we were two alone in one place. He asked, come here. Actually, it was in Hindi, yahan aao. So I went near him, I sat near his feet. And it being winter, early morning, with his nail, he scratched his upper part of the palm. And it being in North India, it was too dry also. And so I could see the white line. He said, do you understand what this is? I said, no, Babuji. He says, think this is a river canal. I said, yes, Babuji. Then he made another scratch and say, do you see? I say, yes, Babuji. There is a second canal. 50% power is reduced. Then he drew third one. And he said, do you understand that? I say, yes, Babuji. Don't create many channels in your mind. Keep a single track. When you are working, have focus, complete focus on what you are doing. This attitude, this inner state will improve even your professional work or in personal relationships also. Having one girlfriend, one channel. One boyfriend, one channel. But having multiple, who can handle all that? But there are people ending up in disastrous life at the end of it. It's not enough to end or reduce the mental apps. It's not that easy as one might think. We need to develop a focused mind, a practice like this heartfulness meditation, which is aided by yogic transmission. It is not just meditation, closing eyes, remaining in silence, but being receptive to yogic transmission carries our consciousness to the very depth of our being. Our job is just to close our eyes and be receptive to this yogic transmission, have an attention towards the heart, and that's all. Rest of the work is done by the trainer. We all can experience it. So the idea, our ancient idea of having shraddha or faith becomes redundant altogether when you practice in a very scientific way. At the end of this exercise, you can say yes, whether I become peaceful or poised or not. And based on your experience, you can now develop a faith in the process, not in a person. This is not a person-driven slavery that is, I think, rampant in a society like India. Well, in your precision-based profession of chartered accounting, if you audit your behavior instead of this financial seat and your attitudes, becoming very honest with yourself, use a meditative mind and a clear heart, it will create a better future, at least for yourself and for your family. Our past adds big emotional baggage and burden on the mind and heart. Often, we remain burdened by our failure and weaknesses and things that we have gone wrong. And that has always troubled most of humanity. With this burden, how can we build a better future? The memories of the past are all stored as emotional baggage and the DNA for the future, not only in one human being, but there is a collective baggage also. For example, India and Pakistan, US and whatnot now, Russia, China, and many other countries. This past baggage controls individual as well as community or communal tendencies. Many spiritual teachings advise us to forget the past. Learn your lessons from the past, but don't have attachment to them. You can have cognitive memory that something happened at a mental level, but let's not carry that emotional baggage about it. I can remember at a mental level and try to avoid that mistake, but I will always give a next chance to the other person without taking any revenge, because my heart is not affected by it. So when we use certain methods, yogic methods or ancient methods, many of you must be following it also, that when we offer prayers before we go to sleep and try to at least resolve something that was done during the daytime, our mistakes, and promising ourselves that henceforth I will not repeat the same. That will help us not carry that emotional tug of war, and that will also resolve and make our futures better. A firm bedtime resolution is necessary to say, no more of my past. You can make millions of mistakes, but let's not repeat them. Scan your daily activities. When you go to bed tonight, scan things. What you could have done today, what you could have avoided today, and promise not to repeat the same. Thus, every act becomes better and better and becomes better tomorrow. In 1 week, you will find yourselves changed to a large extent. Even bringing 0.05% improvement today will be a big change down the road in less than a month. A time comes when instead of scanning at bedtime, you will do it ahead of time. As you improve, you avoid unnecessary mistakes and pitfalls. You will be thinking, where will this act or thought or attitude will lead me to? Is it beneficial for me? So this Viveka Buddhi, or the discriminative ability of our mind, helps us ahead of time. And this precognitive ability is developed through meditation. So we highly recommend one and all to practice meditation, even for 10 minutes. It will change. It can change life. Lord Krishna could not change Duryodhana. Right? People say, if Lord could change, why did he have to bring the war? Lord Rama could not change many things in his life. So many people ask me, Daaji, if Pranahuti is so great, please change my destiny in one go. Even in the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, how many times he had to run between Makkah and Medina to Makkah, and how many wars he had to fight. In fact, he is celebrated as one of the finest warrior ever born in the Middle East. Why the war? At times it becomes a necessity. If you want to build a better future, I think meditation is one way to transform oneself. Our outlook towards the others will definitely change, and slowly we will be able to build a better future.
Now, let's all meditate with Daaji.
You all know how to meditate, and perhaps some of you do not really know how to meditate and joining us for the first time. This is how we meditate. Heartfulness way of meditation. It's very simple. Feel relaxed. Remove all the distractions if you might have. Something like phones. And focus on the presence of divine light in our heart. Think that this divine light is attracting your attention inward, and retain this thought as long as you can. By chance you happen to move away from this noble idea, when you're overwhelmed by so many thoughts, just remind yourself that right now I am meditating on the presence of divine light. Let's all begin meditation. That's all. Please make a note of how you felt. Let's write our observations.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Meditate with Daaji. See you again next week.